So close. There you go. Alright. So, if you haven't heard the news, this will be a solo cast. Why would you look up a little bit more? Okay, there you go. Yeah, this will be a solo cast. Whoopsie. As Rifkin is not here, and that's what I'll end it at. More information about that, I guess, to come further on in the day. But the point is, he's not here. I might be joined by FeaR Dragon later, but that's also kind of a maybe. And I'll probably be joined by FeaR Dragon tomorrow morning for the Alima League, just to give you guys, I guess, a heads up. Now, this also means, of course, most importantly, that, you know, besides missing out on awesome jokes and apparently sexual attention, according to some people in our chat, we're also missing the bot. So there won't be any bets unless he can actually get to the computer and turn it on, because it's on his laptop thingy-majigger. I think that was an accident that I was invited by TLO. I do that all the time because of the new... When someone on your friends list joins or goes into StarCraft 2, if you accidentally press the invite to party button, because you're going to talk in the chat. Very annoying stuff, so I'm just going to assume that's the case. But I do have a game, and actually a fairly good game to start things off. Protoss versus Zerg, FeaR versus Bly. Don't know, I mean, that's a bit of a questionable, I guess, first round. It's actually a second round, round two, but, you know, it's actually pretty early on. But I'll take it just because, well, I'm not ready to fill... dozens of minutes of town time. I know that doesn't sound like very much, but it is. Don't question me. Let me know if the sound levels are okay, as well as, you know, as always. I believe I've changed it to accommodate mostly the Skype side of things, you know, when Rifkin's actually talking or FeaR Dragon is. So it might be a little off. I do know that the game says that'd be higher, but we also can get that. So FeaR's actually asking if Bly's ready, but Bly, there he goes. I guess he didn't see it. So we're gonna hop in a game now. I assume that you guys will let me know what's wrong. So yeah, the bot isn't dead. It's just actually like it's not on. You know, it never lived to die. That type of deal. I'm also still, like, the tiniest bit of sick. It's very annoying. Like, I've been, you know, no sleeping, no eating for, like, you know, 2 weeks up to this. And then, of course, my body got sick because, well, I wasn't treating it very well. And then I finally get over all the, like, it's so gross and I'm sneezing and and stuff like that. And now I just have this cough that is fine, you know, in day-to-day stuff. You know, it's just a little annoying to... you know, cough every now and then. But for a cast is actually very much an issue because I'm always clearing my throat. So I'm going to be trying to micro the mute button today, which is what I've been doing on Skype with Rifkin to, I think, a pretty successful rate. But God forbid if a co-caster ever joins me, they're going to be hearing a lot of disgusting, gross sounds. But alright, enough about that. Let's get into at least the intros. In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss... he is dead pixels. FeaR. In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he's Bly. Yes, the cakes are still here, and they will be here for, I think, another 4 days, I want to say. Or maybe 5, actually. 5 or 4. Something like that. This was last, you know, a week, so. whatever. Yeah, ZVP. So, Bly has been kind of, like, hit or miss. I actually don't even want to say that I think he's going to win. He really has seriously been hit or miss. I guess we're talking about having to play in the Korean server. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I know what that is, because he was invited to the Fang or the Doyu Cup? I always get those two mixed up, but either one. So he actually, I mean, he took the invites. Bly's never been one to complain super hard about, like, you know, oh, I need this to be on the European server, I'm not going to play. But obviously there are still problems. Anyway, yeah, hit or miss. So, like, you know, one day he's losing in, like, round 1 of a weekly cup like this, and you're kind of like, oh, I guess he's having a bad day. And the other, you know, he's actually beating, you know, Neeb, for instance, right, in the recent Ting round of 8s, beating him 3-0. If you haven't seen that, that would be a huge spoiler, but it really should have been seen by now. It's been, like, 4 days, something like that. And, of course, if you want to see how he beat him so hard, you can go to our YouTube and check out the VODs, because Nice Username is great and probably has them up already. Checking for the sound. It seems like everything's Gucci. At least no one's yelling at me, so that's always a good sign. I'm gonna follow this probe then. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna assume everything's fine. Tomorrow we do have the Alimali, like I mentioned, that FeaR will probably be joining. That is, once again, the new time with the studio and the Korean broadcast, and it's going to be so cool. And then, of course, the day after that, and the day after that, so Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to have our first Overwatch qualifiers. That actually is a little bit hazy right now. Really going to try and push it through, because we want to be casting those days that we otherwise can't cast. Oh, and a depth. StarCraft, because Shanghai will be going on, but yeah, it's things are a little bit questionable right now with Rifkin's inability to be here, shall we say. But we'll figure that out. And then after that, we're gonna have a couple of days off where I will be going to Ocean City, so we'll figure out what to do with that. As we watch this macro game unfold, of course, you know, there's the Stargate. I believe I mentioned, and Oracle's gonna pop out of that. The Adept, I guess, didn't really get much damage in, but it was trying to get some scouting, which I guess it kind of did. No, third base. Yeah, so we usually, I want to bring up really quickly before this game really starts to get going, so you can have Evolution Chamber and Overlord Speed, that we usually do the co-op mission before the cast, or, you know, today, basically, as that seems to be when everyone, you know, wants to learn the strategy and whatnot. Seeing as Rifkin's not here and he can't play, I was thinking that after the cast, just go right into it, you know, take an extra 30 minutes to an hour. Oh, he had no preparation for this. Oh, no. That actually kind of sucks. But he might be able to turn the damage with these Lings, maybe. No, he's good. Okay. How much was that? 6 drones. Basically worth the Oracle. I feel like that's exactly what an Oracle would want. Anyways, that one of you could join me and play the co-op mission with me, maybe 1 or 2 times. We'll see what happens towards the end of it, though. But alright, so that's all done and over with. This game is starting to kind of heat up here. Again, these Lings, I thought there'd be more, but the Evolution Chamber was actually for the upgrade, not for some, you know, Ling all-in with Overlord drops. Or partial all-in, I should say. You know, really piling on the aggression. But I gotta imagine eventually, yeah, when the +1 is about done, Bly will be piling on the aggression, because that's kind of Bly for you. It is best of 3, as this is the round 2, so if anyone's uncertain about that, that is actually accurate. And Bly is getting a lot of Lings, but I think this is first and foremost to deal with this very tiny Adept attack, but still, you know, an attack nonetheless. And that's something you gotta take seriously, because they will slaughter a drone line. That went from 6 probe kills from that Oracle, and I guess the 1 Adept, to up to 16. That's pretty damn good. I have to change my settings after this. I'm gonna change them right now. Look at my settings, guys. There you go. But alright, so this is where Bly needs to get some revenge. Let's get a few probes. They made the lobby, so we don't have the mod on. So that's 6 probes, plus the sentries, actually. That's where it's actually pretty good. The Mothership Core is a little out of position. Phoenix is over here. Oracle could have helped with this, actually. Oh well. But yeah, the Mothership Core being out of position was probably the biggest thing. These 2 overcharged immediately means that the Lings, they either die before they kill the sentries, honestly, or they more likely just run away because they don't want to die. But more Adepts coming in here. It's so odd to see, like, you know, 3 or 4 Adepts when usually it is they at least wait for 6, I would say, is usually the number. Or, you know, like an all-in number, like a billion. But no, he's really just, you know, making the Adept and saying, like, I guess I made them, let's use them. But this feels very, how to put it? I don't want to just say old, but it actually feels like a very old way to play Protoss. Excuse me. back in, I don't know, like 3 months ago or something like that. It used to be that if you made adepts, that, yeah, the Protoss player would just try and sacrifice them. And they just be like, let's get some drone kills and let's hope that wins the game for me. Instead of actually making this big army. Hell, that might have been like 5 months ago. It's a pretty old way to play Protoss. That's kind of what it felt like. Because, well, he might not be going for, like, Adepts as a core part of his composition, you know, getting Blink and +1. The fact that he gave away what was most of his army for a certain time is always going to be a little scary. You know, he's replaced it a lot with Sentries, and now he's getting his Blink Stalkers in here, but how many Adepts would that have been? 8 Adepts? You know, that actually would really help against this Hydra army. Instead of getting 23 workers plus or minus the Oracle, they get, you know, maybe 2 because you sacrifice like 1 or 2 Adepts and the rest are here. I think this is like an easy hold for FeaR, but he's that kind of thing of like the risk reward of setting those Adepts in. Really, the Oracle is still alive. I think that should definitely be used more for the Revelation. Force fields do come down, but unfortunately without those Adepts or without, you know, the Stalkers in front or charge outs or anything, they're still gonna die. Hydras have some range, and they literally have their range and speed upgrades, so that didn't actually go that well. And Blink Stalkers, while, you know, perfectly okay units, they do need to come to like a kind of like good number, right? They do have their upgrade, I'll give them that much, you know, at least +1 here, but once again, the Mothership Core not really helping out anymore. She's out of energy. Pylon's starting to go down. Warp Prism is going to choose to try and counter, I suppose, and simply walk away from that. Hydra's, or Bly's Queens are coming in. Don't know why I have Hydra on the brain. Unfortunately, are targeted down. I mean, this is close spawn Frost, and, you know, seeing this instead of a Roach Ravager all in, okay, point is, they're both still very dedicated attacks. Bly only on 52 drones, of course a lot because he lost a lot, but still. That's not surprising to see from him, and FeaR should definitely have expected something like this, but looks like he will hold. Now, Bly's still getting more Hydras and more Queens, and the lack of, again, Adepts or Charge Lots is a little worrying, and of course the lack of Force Fields, because that's another thing they can deal with Hydras pretty okay. But these Hydras, they have Creep, they have a Concave. Blink Stalkers might actually not be in enough numbers, but Bly's a little too forward with what is a very small army right now. Hydra's coming in looking for that Warp Prism, which is not a bad find at all, but just a little bit out of their range. Thanks to Silver8901 for the 6-month resub. Hey, BaseTradeTV, love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Thanks. That Warp Prism will always be a thorn in Bly's side now that he was unable to kill it. He does reposition his army, though, seeing FeaR move out, but FeaR's Stalker count is actually starting to get to that point where, like, okay, even if there's a nice number of Hydras, a nice number of Blink Stalkers could also take that on. They're also getting their upgrade, but maybe a little too zealous on that creep. The Ling's get a partial surround, and the Hydras, well, they don't have any more buffer. There still are large numbers of them. The Force Fields are going to go away at any second here. There we go, and the Sentries are going to die. The Immortal's going to die, too. That's just way too much damage for it to take on, so little bits of just, like, overextensions from both parties, but maybe FeaR overextended for the last time. Hydra's trying to move in, take out whatever they can. They're probably going to die, unless they can get some fodder from something or another, but they can certainly take out a lot before that. There we go, they are starting to get, you know, taken down. There are those Lings. Again, remember, Bly's only on this singular Ling upgrade. The Hydras themselves actually do not have any upgrades. So if FeaR had waited and not lost that huge chunk of an army, he would have had so much army with +2 that would have been able to take down, I think, Bly's army almost no problem. But he did lose a big chunk of his army, and Bly has that army supply lead. He's also got a 4th base, but with 50 drones, I mean, it's more like a hatchery for larvae, right? I guess he's starting to kind of mine out. Yeah, he's not full saturated. So, oh well, but got a 4th base in case he ever does need it. Lurkers are on the way, and unfortunately, FeaR not only did he lose a good chunk of his Blink Stalkers, he's been losing his Immortals as well. Not that he's ever had, like, double robo production. Tries to get a Concave on the Lurkers, but that ain't gonna happen, and Bly just slices and dices to victory, probably. 1 Archon, 2 Immortals. That's it. You know, a couple of Adepts, I guess, now, but that's not really gonna help either. And they're going down a ramp onto Lurkers. GG. Okie dokie. Well, again, like I'm not like so surprised that Bly won, but I wouldn't have been surprised if FeaR won either, just because Bly has been a bit topsy turvy. But it looks like Bly's in pretty good form. It looks like he's in his form, right, where he's just so aggressive, and it actually works. Unfortunately, what we've been seeing on his off days is that, yeah, it's same old Bly. He tries to be aggressive early pulls, two base attacks, link drops, and everything just shut down. It's like he's having like bad luck all over the place. So that looked more like a good day Bly. And as I said, that was a best of 3. It's loser's choice. I'm not sure what these tweets are about. Ah, yeah, tastes great. Alright, there we go. New Gettysburg is FeaR's choice. I can kind of see the logic in that. First of all, people are actually liking the map, so that's like I think the first and foremost thing, right? Like even if it might be a bad map for your race or even your play style, although I don't see why you would like that map if that was the case. But anyways, but you still like the map. Like I guess you like the aesthetics, or you like this one specific appeal of the map, like the rocks or something, then you might still be more prone to pick it, or less prone to veto it at least. Not that there's vetoes in the Corsair Cup. But yeah, first and foremost, you gotta like the map, and then after that, you can worry about like the balance or what they're gonna do. But I think besides, you know, FeaR maybe liking the map and the macro aspect of it, you also gotta consider that like Bly has 2 options on this map, right? It's through the bridge. Let's go in game. Make sure I don't forget to do that. You got the bridge, which is an easy force field or a pylon in the early stages. That's something he's not really going to be using. You have the air blockers, which doesn't quite negate Overlord drops, but can kind of put like a damper in them, you know? Because you do have to kind of control them like a babysitter if you're going to go through those air blockers. And then you have the northern part, which is perfectly fine. There's not really any chokes up here and whatnot, but that's like so much later in the game. You might be a lot more comfortable taking fights by then. But I'm not actually FeaR, I don't know his mind. And he is actually in the bottom left, has the blue Protoss. He is Dead Pixels FeaR. Currently down 1. In the bottom right is the red Zerg. He is Bly. And he is someone that we all know and love for being super hyper-aggressive. Other notable names, I guess, in the brackets. We caught one pretty early on, didn't expect to, but it worked out. But other notable names include Billowy, the Korean Protoss, who has been showing up for a lot of European-timed events. I would say Puma, but that is not the Puma you guys are thinking of. Though he's on Cascade. He's got to be, like, at least decent. God, miss those days of EG Puma, right? One base... Was it one base 111 back then? Yeah, it was, right? Yeah, that was him. Pylon block, but Bly didn't care. Joke's on you. Nyam, 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 nyam. Probe still wants to scout, though. Keen, Sleep, all these other Korean Zerg, Korean Terran, Korean Protoss, actually. Everyone's here. All arriving. Stylish is alive. I know I'm noting all the Koreans in a European Cup. There's actually a ton of them. There's also Tails. It's like trying to remember how many drinks you had last night. I had 2. No, wait, 3. No, actually 4. No, I probably had 5. That's just what happened right there. But then, I guess, trying to really focus on the Europeans. Of course, Lily Canine is going to go up against Billy. Maybe we'll catch that in the next series. Healer, a fan favorite on BaseTradeTV because he's a sub and a cool guy, and he's also really fun to watch. Hino, I think, has always been in the brackets and advances. We just never really get to catch him. Koss, very old name as well. I don't know, a lot of decent names, right? Now this is something you don't remember as being a gold base, but when you do remember, this actually isn't that freaky. But this is where FeaR scouting, you know, not just saying like, oh, I guess the pylon block didn't work, let me go back home because this is, you know, no longer worth my time. This is where you do want to just keep your probe here and be like, okay, there's still no natural, so what do I have to worry about? And you quickly go through the all-ins in your mind, because that's, I think, the first thing you're going to think of. is what can kill me most immediately, especially from Bly, and that's, you know, like Overlord drops, or Roach Ravager attacks in the middle of the map, or something like that. And then once those don't happen, which unfortunately might be, like, you know, the sign too late, you start thinking about gold bases, especially on the new maps. You know, if this was Overgrowth and you didn't see a natural base go down in time, in relative time, like, you would immediately go to the gold base and be like, oh, it's a Zerg. Like, what else did I expect? But on the newer maps, and especially New Gettysburg, which I really just, I don't even remember that there's a gold base, I don't think he's ever going to check that. There's also a bit of a sneaky way to get the drones over. I think they were transferred from the 3rd, so they would never look suspicious. Well, they would look suspicious if you saw them, like, going over here, of course, but I meant to say that they would never actually be scouted. You know, they went over here, that's not a problem, and then you wouldn't scout anywhere else, you wouldn't wonder where drones went. This Adept actually is, I mean, I don't think it's scouting, I think it's just hiding, but it's like, hope it never hides to the north, which nothing ever does, but, you know, I'm pretty sure that Zelnaga would see it. So whenever FeaR takes Zelnaga, which he could, right now, but probably doesn't feel a need to, he would scout the creep, which would scout the hatchery. Yeah, unfortunately, this is at a time where he still probably could hold it. You know, it'd be a lot of lings to get on top of an adept. You wouldn't think you would need to. Just think that there's probably like a, if anything, if there's going to be any aggression, like a ling drop to the bridge. But poor FeaR, he does not have all the information. Now, I guess the question is, like, is that a problem? I would say yes, because, you know, you think you're going to be attacked, and you never get a 3rd base, because you're like, okay, where the hell is the attack? But by taking this base, things get a lot more interesting, and this is one of the first times in professional competitive play that I've seen this, island base taken. In my own games, like, there's, like, the tricky mech aspect to it, when you don't bother scouting, because you don't think about it, and they get away with a 3rd base, but, anyway, in the competitive, like, tournament scene, this thing is the first time. This Overlord should be able to scout it. Yeah, okay, it already did, yeah, okay. But the thing is, what do you do about it? You could ling drop, which is actually a perfectly fine thing to do right now for Bly, because there's no pylons here, you could definitely get it done. Or you could just wait until you have mutas, but with double Stargates, that's not really going to be a choice. And if it is your choice, you better really dedicate to it, because they ain't gonna cut it if it's gonna get mutas. So now, actually, with more Phoenixes coming out, the opportunity for Overlord drops is going farther and further down. He does get one in before the Phoenixes go roaming around the map, and that's probably better, to be honest. If he had waited for, like, 4 Overlord drops full of Hydras, you know, 2 of them might die before even getting there, and then mass Phoenix can actually take care of Hydras, so. One Adept does go down, and Phoenixes aren't that great against Lings. There's the Warp Prism that never died, pretty important. Bringing back other Adepts, and he will secure this base. And that's really, I mean, I feel like that's it for Bly's aggression on that 3rd base. But if there's one thing you can do against someone who's turtling, whether it's mech or mass Stargate units, or, you know, taking island bases or whatever, is you can try and deny a 4th base. Chances are he's not going to try and go for this island 4th base. He's going to try and go for... Is that pylon going to break? No. No, it's going to force build. Okay. You're going to go for this base, which is something that Bly could actually try and engage into, as opposed to, again, Overlord dropping. I guess a Nidus Worm, I'm completely forgetting about the other option of getting across the map. A Nidus Worm also wouldn't be a bad idea, but that also requires vision, so basically the problem is getting Overlords anywhere. Even with speed, you gotta be kind of sneaky about it. It's like getting a medevac drop-off against Protoss as you open with a Phoenix. It's gonna be a little difficult. I want to note that FeaR still has no idea about this base, because he never took the Zelnaga, because his plan was never to, well, one, really take that much of a ground war, I suppose, to start things off. Apparently he's going back into ground. But to start things off, and then 2, I guess, has never really been fearful of an attack coming from the north. You know, you gotta try and take the Zelnaga if you're, or an observer up here, which he could have gotten by now. But nah, never really bothered. The Phoenix is not gonna have the greatest time here. There are Spore Crawlers and Hydras and Queens and whatnot, but the Spore Crawler's a bit of an alive Spore Crawler. They just fly past it into the drone line anyway. That wasn't too great. Actually a lot of good damage there. But the War Prism, the Phoenix, still haven't scouted the natural base being down. He sees it now and it's probably like, okay, I knew he was going to take it eventually, but it does seem a little bit late. I guess, that's that. He scouted this 4th base too, so he just really... I mean, I think this really is one of those cases just like, television. You didn't die, so you stop worrying about the fact they didn't have a natural. And then when you're like, huh, maybe I should check if they have a natural, it's already like, well, I guess they took it late or something, right? They start underestimating your opponent even, depending on who he is or how confident you are, I suppose. But yeah, still no scouting on this Xel'Naga or this base, and the Phoenixes could definitely try and roam around looking for overlords. But Hydra just run right up on that ramp, which really wasn't supposed to happen. They get one immortal, they get the sentries, they're gonna get another immortal, almost. The shield's off of it at least. Get a gateway, I believe that was. And that's already not the greatest engagements. Unfortunately for Protoss, while they are better than the Heart of the Swarm counterparts about the whole death ball thing, they still do need to get to that crucial number of units to really take a good fight. And unfortunately, FeaR took a very bad initial fight and does not have any units now, really. Warping in, Mothership Core goes down, Robo's on the front lines, Pylon's going to deactivate them, so no more Immortals. Zealot's doing a decent job. They don't have charge, like getting it, but they were just on top of the Hydras because they didn't micro initially. But there you go, so micro goes down, and that's it. GG. Bly takes the series 2-0. And is looking pretty good. What is happening in chat? Oh yeah, if anyone didn't notice, I guess the cakes and the gold base are different. Okay, well, I guess I just looked at the chat at the wrong time. There's some questionable content going down there. But what are we gonna have for our next series? Let's take a look-see. And I already mentioned everyone that's in here. All the round 1 matches have been played. And... not the greatest looking round 3 matches. Alive versus Goblin. Goblin had funner tactics versus Zerg, though. And we always catch him. He's always mentioning. Maybe we should stop. I kind of want to try and catch Lily Kineen versus Billowy, or Bly versus Tails. Both have not had their opponents basically advance, though. So it could be waiting for some time. Yeah. As this is a solo cast, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the break screen. So thanks for watching, everyone. The Corsair Cup number 28. Long time running. Almost half a year. A couple weeks till half a year. And hope you guys stick around. See ya in a bit.